the saddest moments caught in Providence.
My son was recently killed last year, so they cut my check because he had owed money. So I had to go to Social Security to fix that matter. When I came out, I had a ticket.
I was on my way back to the hospital. My husband had had surgery that morning. I didn't even know I went through that late until I got the ticket in the mail.
Miss Carey came to the court in good spirits and was all smiles. But that didn't help, as Judge Caprio immediately went to analyze the video evidence of her traffic breach. All she managed to say in response was how she wished the video had audio as well. Interesting.
Let's watch it, then we'll
Okay.
talk. Light is yellow, red. Okay. You are a substantial distance before the red light. There is a police car that is stopped on the other side of the service road.
I watched the video myself. I only wish that it had audio.
The defendant tried her hardest to explain her dire situation, but alas, the judge wasn't having any of it. He was not impressed by her cop story at all, and that put her at a loss for words.
I am a nervous, whenever I see a police or an ambulance or anything, I'm like the one that gets out of the way if you look at the car.
If you were, everything you just said,
Yeah.
right, addresses the issue that you should have stopped. You saw it, you see it? Because they tell you if a police car is even coming in the opposite direction, you're supposed to pull over and stop.
That's why you respect the road and its regulations, because the consequences put you and others at risk. Miss Carey's face was filled with tears, and eventually the judge took pity on her. However, this was his verdict.
You had indicated that there was a police cop coming up from behind you with the lights flashing and so forth, and you thought you were in imminent danger, then I could understand that you went through
I
the
was
light.
just nervous.
I understand that. This is not a crime of moral turpitude. Don't get nervous. Don't get emotional. It's clear.
This is silly, sorry.
Okay, it's $85.
Losing a son and not even having time to mourn. No one wants to be stuck in such a situation. But what seemed like a nightmare was this woman's reality. So you can anticipate where this hearing was leading to.
At the time, you were living on 9th Street in Woonsocket. We're keeping track of you. Then you got a ticket on Friendship Street in 2008. That was a parking meter on Friendship Street. That's going to cost you $25. Then you have a parking meter in 2014 on Friendship Street. So far you're doing pretty good because all you got is $50.
While the woman had no recollection of the past tickets, she was still ready to state her case for her fresh ones. The more we got to know her trouble, the more we felt sad for her. Still, we have to proceed for the sake of the video.
My son was recently killed last year, so they cut my check because he had owed money. So I was his rep payee. So they took my money because he had owed money. So I had to go to Social Security to fix that matter. When I came out, I had a ticket.
After this, we got to know how the Social Security was sort of looting her family because of discrepancies on her son's part, which was getting devastating for her with every passing moment.
I've had a tough year already. I'm on SSDI. I don't have $400 to give you on top of whatever else. I really do. I just had to come up with money for a new apartment. I'm still paying Russell and Boyd for my son's funeral. I don't know where this money's supposed to come from.
Judge Frank patiently listened to the defendant and carefully reviewed the case. It was clear as day he not only sympathized with the woman, but also decided to help her in any way possible.
I'm going to reduce this to $50. How much time do you need to pay it?
I have it on me now.
That's not going to leave you without any money, is it?
I'll leave it with $5.
I'm not going to leave you with $5. I'm not going to leave you. I'm going to dismiss everything.
Thank you.
All right. With our best wishes and hope that things turn around good for you.
Judge Frank launched straight into the video evidence for this hearing. I'm sure this wasn't the first, but it was one of the most driving offenses, and the whole courtroom could see it.
Good morning, Margaret. You're charged with going through a red light on Pleasant Valley Parkway and Valley Street. This was on December 14th, just before Christmas. All right, we're going to take a look at it, okay? Okay, the light is green. It's yellow. Red. Okay.
The distressed woman got triggered quickly and couldn't hold her tears back because her speeding was not intentional but viable. By this, we mean it had a very good reason behind it.
I was on my way back to the hospital. My husband had had surgery that morning, and I wasn't even I didn't even know I went through that late until I got the ticket in the mail. I saw the video and I couldn't believe it that I did that. I'm 71 years old. I have never had a ticket.
It was obvious the woman loved and cherished her husband, and she appeared to take road rules quite seriously, as evidenced by her record. She had been a responsible driver all these years.
So you was preoccupied and anxious because of your husband's condition, and you didn't see the light.
I didn't even realize. Like I said, when I got it in the mail, I was shocked. And when I seen the video, and I absolutely did. But I'm hoping that with my record and everything, it might help.
The defendant sincerely hoped her flawless driving record would help back her up against these violations. And we all knew that she was in the right place, as Judge Frank is just the right guy for that kind of compassion. Let's wrap this.
Now, I don't want you, every time your husband has some kind of a surgical procedure, going through red lights, you know? Because what's going to happen is next time he's going to go to CVS and you're going to say, well, my husband was in the pharmacy, you know? And then after that, you're going to say, my husband had a headache and I was preoccupied. So this is your one shot, okay?
I appreciate it.
In an interesting turn of events, this defendant here was a war veteran. Yep, who came to the trial with a calm demeanor. The judge couldn't help noticing it as well. Turns out his calm attitude had a story behind it.
I want to apologize. I've kept you waiting and just kept jumping people in front of you, so.
That's okay, Your Honor.
Are you used to waiting? I mean, you look like a pretty guy that's pretty calm.
I'm on medication. I'm a 100% disabled war vet, so I'm on medication for anxiety and depression, mood disorder. So I'm on medication that keeps me calm.
Well, apparently the guy got these violations and speeding tickets through the mail. Furthermore, he was unable to recall them as well. This certainly left the judge in a tough spot.
Right.
Yes, Your Honor.
Don't get anxious here, right? There's nothing that's going to happen here that's going to be excitable, okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
We have a video of the red light. I just want to look at it. Okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
We'll show it up. You're charged with going through a red light on Pleasant Valley Parkway and Valley Street.
I in that vicinity, I must have been
Go to the vets?
late for the VA. I was heading towards the VA.
Anyone could see the anxiousness just radiating off of him, which was a given for the war veterans considering the situations they had been through. Grateful for their service indeed. But like every war story, this one also had its fair share of somberness.
Army, I was a sergeant, military police officer for the 119th MP Company.
Yeah, and where did you serve?
Iraq, back in 03 to 04, and I lost hearing. I'm a recovering cancer patient. It's due to the radiation I experienced in Iraq. I've been cancer-free now 3 years.
This guy indeed sacrificed a lot, and all for the service to his country. Now, that was commendable. It was time he got some gratitude in return, and the judge thanked him in the right manner.
The least that I can do is say, listen, you went through a red light, you were on your way to get treatment at the vets because of a condition that was brought about by your service to this country. The anxiety was brought about because of war damage that was done to you. I think the least we can do is say, you know what, we're going to give you a pass on this.
Thank you, Your Honor. I appreciate it.
And I'm going to do that.
Sometimes a person just needs to vent, and that's exactly what Miss Deborah Neves did. The late veteran's wife came to court and started pouring her heart out in the open for everyone to see. The rest of us could just listen to her.
First of all, those tickets my husband got before he passed away. I can remember each one diligently because he told me about it. My lack was not coming here before it to take care of it because we knew he was terminally ill. Sugar diabetes for over 20 some odd years. We waited over 36 years to be together.
The woman was quite upset and traumatized, but was not a quitter. Nope. Lady on trial was coming back much stronger. However, this hearing took a toll on her as she was already devastated by her son's immediate passing.
My van, which is the only piece that I have of him, because before he died, we did a GoFundMe. I'm still paying for that stupid van. It's not stupid, but it's my only transportation back and forth to work. I live on disability and I work a part-time job just to make it through every day. I'm lost. I'm still in.
If Judge Frank hadn't stopped the grieving mother, I bet she would have kept venting. He regarded her carefully, and after praising her love for her son, he did something he rarely does.
As you expressed, his medical condition was such, these tickets all revolved around him. The car was in a handicap zone, it was tagged, he had an ulcerated foot, he was in the car. All of these tickets that the car placed on the car with a subject that would have been dismissed.
Gladys Rodriguez appeared, and she had an innocent face that just demanded the question, what was she doing in the municipal court? Judge Caprero thought the same. But as it turned out, the defendant had a record.
Gladys, what are we going to do with you? What are we going to do with you? Look at this innocent little girl, Inspector Quinn. She has 9 violations, 9 red lights and speeding.
Miss Gladys' record was packed with traffic breaches and disobedience. However, she had an explanation for all that. This petite woman went through some grueling situations, and she wasn't alone.
Because I dealt with a domestic violence relationship. I ate a lot of those, like running away from somebody that used to chase me with my daughter.
How old is your daughter?
9.
This court took the matters of domestic violence pretty seriously. Yes, as it should. Judge Frank immediately looked into the matter before proceeding any further, and Inspector Quinn came through with the findings.
A couple of reports or something that there was some damage done to a vehicle and stuff like that, but he doesn't think all of them. And as far as the other plate, I have no idea. There's another plate from some stuff in 2011.
We are very sensitive to matters involving personal safety, particularly people who are being stalked for whatever reason, and that's very personal with you, so we're not going to get into that at all.
Miss Rodriguez was a single parent and worked around the clock. The only matter left was to determine if she would be able to pay all these fines. And there were quite a lot. Judge had to take into consideration her tough situation, and this was the verdict.
There are in this country, in this world, some very generous people and some very compassionate and understanding people. And I receive correspondence from all over the world, and many of the correspondence enclose checks from people who want to help other people because they have become familiar with the court proceedings here.
Kelly Furtado seemed to be in quite a hurry when she sped along Chalkstone Avenue, and that landed here to answer for the said violation. However, she was ready to explain why she did what she did.
My grandmother was in the hospital, and we got a phone call that it's not right. I was speeding, but we didn't think she was going to make it through the day. I was on my way to Roger Williams. I drove by and I had to turn around. And then the reason I had to reschedule the court date, because this is my second court date, I received a letter saying that they added more fines. I'm a divorced mother with 4 kids.
One after the other, the woman managed to deal with everything that fate threw at her. Good for her. Moreover, this mama also had 4 kids to deal with on top of that. Now that was a real handful.
One of them was actually messaging me when I was sitting out there asking me if I could take her to buy a wallet when I get out of here.
How's your grandmother do?
She's been in a nursing home since then, but she's back in the hospital right now. But she's not in Roger Williams, she's in Fatima. She's not doing too well.
I think based on that explanation, I think I'm going to give you a break.
The court heard her testimony and justification. She did violate the speeding law, but she seemed to have a good reason for it. Time to see whether all that took her off the hook or not.
The machine said you were speeding, you're guilty, and if that were the case, then they could put a machine up here. They don't really need someone, so I'm a firm believer that we should take all of the circumstances into consideration before we make a decision. And your story, I must tell you, is very compelling.
Well, it's all true.
Oh, I believe you.
A devastated mother, entangled in traffic volition with her daughter on her side, was standing in front of a famous judge, looking for his compassionate verdict. Let's see if things will go her way.
You have 6 tickets. 2 of them are school zone violations, and 4 of them are parking tickets. Then you have a Chrysler that was registered to you last year. Do you remember that?
Yes.
And you have a $25 ticket outstanding on that. That tripled to $75. I'm waiving the $50 penalty.
Okay.
It was pretty apparent to the judge that the defendant had trouble standing at the podium. She looked in pain. The sweet judge couldn't help asking what brought that on, and here it is.
Been better.
Little difficulty walking?
Yeah, I broke my back.
Your back?
Yeah.
Have an accident?
Fell down the stairs.
Oh, God.
Now, the mother had to pay for all the tickets. But before you jump to some conclusion, Miss Gina launched into an explanation for a couple of tickets. Looks like old Lass was a fighter, and she wasn't going down so easily.
The school zone, I didn't know anything about the cameras at that time. I was going through a hard situation, being homeless, living in my car, and I was going to pick up my daughter to bring her to school because she was staying with her friend. And that's when I got the 2 tickets on Thurbers Avenue.
Apart from the daughter standing beside her, the defendant had 4 other children, and 3 of them lived with her. And Super Mommy had been managing all of that. Things were going somewhat okay for her, But fate had another surprise for her.
I was homeless for like over a year because of the landlord was not taking care of all the maintenance and stuff in the house, so they condemned the house. I lost so much of my furniture, and I lost my best friend in the world. I lost my dog.
Listening to all that, whose heart wouldn't cry out for this woman? If you don't tear up, you are made of stone. The judge revisited her case and helped in whatever capacity he could manage.
I'm going to reduce this fine to $260 and remove the boot based on the love and consideration that's been displayed by both of these individuals, one from Delray Beach, Florida, the other from Tip City, Ohio. I think would be very pleased if they knew that it was being used to help you. I think all of our wishes are that things get better for you.
Thank you.